Hello, Rim of the World Mountain Communities. It is Tuesday, June 14th, 2022, and it's time for the weekly real estate market update. Welcome to this week's real estate update. I'm your realtor, Theresa Grant. And if you're new to the channel, it would mean the world to us if you would please tap that big red subscribe button. And while you're at it, hit the bell next to it so that you enable notifications so you get alerted whenever we publish new videos designed to help you stay informed about our local real estate market, just like this one. All right, the time is here for us to talk about this past week in real estate here in our Rim of the World Mountain Communities. Let's dive right in. Okay, so let's take a look first at the Lake Arrowhead area, all areas. Now, we all know that Lake Arrowhead is divided into certain sub areas. For example, we have Twin Peaks, Rim Forest, Crest Estates, Sky Forest, Deer Lodge Park, and of course, Lake Arrowhead, with Lake Arrowhead Woods, meaning the area that has lake rights for private Lake Arrowhead. The first thing that I like to do is take a look at the entire Lake Arrowhead market area, and this is what happened this past week. What you'll see here is that as of this week in Lake Arrowhead, all areas, there are 215 active listings. That's 215 properties that are for sale. That is up last week. Last week we had 196. For properties who have actually closed escrow, which means new owners have taken possession of a property and they are moving in, so hello neighbors, there have been 14 closings in the past week. That's down. The prior week was 16. In escrow, we have 41. That is down by 2 whole properties. Last week we had 43. And in the coming soon status, there are 2, and last week there were 3. By the way, what's the coming soon status? The coming soon status means that a property has been listed for sale, but it has not engaged yet active marketing, so we're not able to show it yet. We just know that the property is listed for sale. Let's move on to Arrowhead Woods. Again, Arrowhead Woods are the properties that have lake rights to use and enjoy private Lake Arrowhead. The numbers here are very interesting to me. This week, there are 151 properties actively listed for sale. So if you're looking for a property that has lake rights, there's a little bit more opportunity for you this week to look at property compared to last week, where our number was 133 properties available for sale. However, in terms of closed sales, so escrows that have closed just in the past 7 days, we had another 31 properties close escrow. Last week, we had 12. This week, we had 8 properties go under contract, go into escrow. Last week, we had 30. And right now we have 0 properties in Arrowhead Woods that are in coming soon status. Last week, there were 2. Let's take a quick look over to our neighborhood in Crestline, California. This week, there are 88 properties actively listed for sale. Last week, there were 85. This week also, we had 11 properties close escrow. That is exactly the same as the week before, so a nice, steady closing rate in Crestline. This week, we had 33 properties go under contract and open escrow. Last week, there was 31. That's about par for the course. And this week, there are 4 coming soon properties, same as last week, another 4. However, in Crestline, just like last week, where I said that I had one coming on market that was going into coming soon, that one came on market this past Friday. And now I have another one that is going to be in coming soon status as of today. We're going to be filming that video a little later today and releasing it out. It'll come on market. Let's see, today's Tuesday. It'll come out on market on Thursday. So keep your eyes peeled for that video. It's going to be really, really cute. Let's talk about the market this week in Running Springs. Okay, Running Springs is looking just steady as well. There's 65 properties available on the market. Last week, there were 62. In terms of properties that closed escrow this week, there were 6. Last week, there were 2. Properties that went under contract, completely flat. We had 16 escrows opened this week, and we had 16 escrows open last week. That tells me that the running springs market is very, very steady, both in demand and in activity. And there is one property in coming soon status, whereas last week there were 2. So we're seeing very little fluctuation there on the coming soon status. It really is negligible. Let's talk a minute about Green Valley Lake. So this week, there's 15 properties for sale in Green Valley Lake, as opposed to last week, there were only 17. In terms of closed escrows, nothing closed escrow in the past 7 days, as opposed to the prior week where there was 1 new owner in Green Valley Lake. However, this week, there are 4 properties in escrow. Last week, there were 2. And when it comes to coming soons, again, with Green Valley Lake, because the inventory is just so precious and minute, we have 0 coming soons, and we have 0 coming soons last week as well. Let's talk about what this means in average as for this week in real estate. Here's the market summary. Peak to peak. So again, Crestline to Lake Arrowhead, to Running Springs, to Green Valley Lake. What we have is our active listings days on market is up just a skosh at 47 days on market. Our asking price for active listings is up a tiny bit. We're asking on average $393 a square foot. However, our closed listings days on market have remained completely the same between last week and this week at exactly 18 days on market as average. And our price per square foot when we settle and we close escrow has gone down just a bit to $359 a square foot. Now keep in mind that is peak to peak. Every area of the mountain is different in its values and its pricing, but it's a really good indicator for us to see how the market is moving. Now, last week I promised you that I was going to do a year-to-date market wrap-up just to show you what the market is doing, how it's fluctuating, and also that I would take those numbers back to some historic numbers. So I want to take us a little bit deeper, and we're going to talk a little bit about where our historic numbers have been. These numbers are from the local MLS, so that's the Rim of the World Association of Realtors. And so we know that these numbers are fully accurate, and I'm going to take you through them. In terms of the number of active listings in the past 6 months, what this graph shows us is that we are seeing an uptick in the number of active listings. Now, before you get too excited about that, I want to remind you, and we're going to see as we come and we look at some historical numbers, that we're only at about a third of the inventory that we would have had on the market pre-COVID. However, what I'm seeing as I look at the market statistics and I look at the market activity is that I think that we're starting to return to pre-COVID activity. What that means is a return to our seasonal market expectations. So if you've lived up here for a while, you know that our market fluctuates seasonally, and some property types sell better in the summer as opposed to the winter, and vice versa. And because of that, we see a fluctuation in properties that are coming on market as opposed to how quickly or which properties sell seasonally. So this time frame that we're talking about is from January 2022 to June 2022. We're only looking at residential, and these statistics just show us that from January we had a little bit less than 200 listings on market, and now here in June of the same year we're hovering just above 400-ish. So good news is, if you want to go with a shocker headline, we've doubled our listing inventory. Don't believe that for a moment, because yes, we did double our listing inventory, but compared to pre-COVID numbers, we're like just a tiny bit under 30% of our normal average listing inventory. Very important to keep in mind as we talk about the health of the market. Let's take a look at the number of active listings in the past 6 months. And this actually, I've taken us back all the way back to January of 2018. So I'm taking us year over year, and you can see in January of 2018, we were at the numbers that we are at actually today. And then we saw the spike in July of 2018. We saw the dip back down to just around 400 in January 2019. July 2019, we had 700 and something active listings on market that month. And then we start to see the slide. The slide is when we started to see the COVID numbers start to come in and the world started to change. If you take a look at the slide all the way down to January 2021, that was one of our historical market dips in terms of inventory. We saw a little bit of a rally in July. And then here in January 2022, we dipped right back down, and now we're starting to rally back up. This V shape is really indicative of the market as we've seen the ups and downs in inventory, supply and demand, not only because of the people who discovered our market area during COVID, but also because of the fluctuation in interest rates. And of course, we all know that weather played a deal. Especially as we were coming through those winter seasons, as we were coming through November, December, January, February, we did see a lot of snow. And that also was kind of interesting in how it kind of affected our real estate market. Let's take a look at the next slide. This is the original price versus sold price. And again, I took us all the way back to January 2018. You can see that back in January 2018, we had our sold prices were outpacing our list prices. And as you follow the curve up, it's very evident still that with just a tiny, minute difference, our sales prices are vastly continuing to outpace our list prices. So what that means is that we are still seeing properties that have multiple offers that are driving the prices up. I would say that while we were in the thick of COVID, we all knew, and we were all hearing the stories about, 40 offers on a property at the same time, and people were promising crazy things just to please let them buy the house. Now, instead of seeing those vast numbers of properties that are getting like huge numbers of overbids and multiple offers on the table, instead of seeing, 40, we might see 3 or 4. So there's still competition, but as the inventory ramps up and we have more properties come on market, we have less buyers competing for the same properties. And that's going to tell a story in regards to the health of our real estate market as we go into the rest of, or the second half of 2022. That is my prediction. This next slide is showing us the days on market and price, starting from January 2018, and of course, ending here in June 1st of 2022. This slide, comparatively speaking, I think tells the biggest story, okay? The days to sell are median. If you take a look at this, that's the blue line. Back in January 2018, we were like roughly 80 days on market, I believe. And now as we follow the regular, I'm sorry, I hit that slide too fast. As we follow our regular seasons, we're seeing the days on market fluctuate like we normally would. What sells faster at what time of year? What sells slower at what time of year? And then the COVID hit the real estate market, and suddenly we saw, as we had more demand and less inventory supply, the days on market just plummeted. Now, as we take a look at the numbers here from January 2022 to present, this little area here, you'll see that it's evening out. I'm predicting that that number is going to stay relatively flat for the next quarter. But as we go towards the last half of 2022, I'm suspecting our days on market are going to creep upward. Are they going to hit the 80 days on market-ish that they were back in 2018? Probably not, because we still have a housing inventory shortage in the state of California, let alone in our mountain communities. But I'm thinking that we're going to see those days on market creep up a little bit more. I wanted to bring you, as a last bit of information, a really easy breakdown to understand what has happened from 2018 to 2022. So in 2018, there were 437 closed sales in the first half of the year. We're looking at January 1st through June 1st for the purpose of this information. So 437 closed sales. Our active days on market was 86. I'm sorry, our average days on market was 86. And we were closing out at about $198 a square foot. Comparing that to the first half of 2019, we had 330 closed sales, so less than 2018. Our average days on market crept upward to 92, but our price per square foot went up at $210 a square foot. Now let's compare that to 2020. In 2020, the first half, we closed 343 residential properties. Our average days on market started to go down. We went to like 85 days on market on average, and our price per square foot held very, very strongly against the prior half of 2019. 2019 was $210 a square foot for the first half. 2020, we were at $212 a square foot. So that was our nice, predictable year over year appreciation of the market that we expect for a nice, healthy market. Now let's take a look at 2021. 2021, the first half, we almost doubled the number of closed sales. In 2020, for the first half, we had 343 closed sales. 2021, 609. And in 2020, our average days on market for the first half were 85. In 2021, we went all the way down to 40 days on market average. And for 2020, the first half, our average price per square foot, $212 a square foot. In 2021, first half, $308 a square foot. But wait, let's take a look at what's happened now in 2022. So this is today's market compared to this time last year. We have almost eclipsed what we did in the first half of 2021. We have 556 closed sales. Okay, so a little bit of a dip, but again, there's not been that much inventory. However, our average days on market, 23. So we about cut that in half compared to the first half of the market in 2021. And look at the difference in the price per square foot on average. From peak to peak, we went from $308 a square foot for the first half of 2021. We're now at $380 a square foot for the first half of 2022. Now, there's a lot of chatter out there about what's going on with the real estate market. How are interest rates going to affect things? Some people are saying, oh my gosh, we're going to have a market crash. Clickbait, because I'm telling you right now, we're not going to have a market crash, at least not when it comes to housing prices, because as long as demand is high and inventory is low, that's the law of supply and demand. Even with interest rates rising upwards, we have creative solutions to make sure that our sellers are still getting top dollar and making sure that buyers can still afford it. We're going to talk about that in another session. I am going to go ahead and give you a spoiler alert right now that I'm putting together a video that's going to air in a couple days that's going to take you through historic interest rates, how it's affected the market, and I'm going to debunk the idea that just because we have rising interest rates, oh my God, prices must come down. And that, oh my God, buyers aren't going to buy. Because I'm telling you right now, buyers are buying, prices are strong, inventory and our demand are leading the charge. Okay, so that is this week's market update for the Rim of the World Mountain Communities Real Estate. Once again, if you find this content valuable to you, please be sure that you hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell so that you get notified whenever we release a market update or anything related to our local real estate market. Our mission is to make sure that you are informed every step of the way so that you know the numbers, you know the activity, and you can make wise decisions about how you interact with the real estate market, whether you are thinking about buying, selling, trading up, trading down. I want you to have the information so that you are empowered. Well, that's it for this week's marketing update. We'll see you next time for next week's market update. I'm Theresa Grant. Thank you for spending time with me. Bye for now. That's a wrap for this podcast episode of Real Talk with Theresa Grant Realtor. You can find more content on the web at www.homesinlakearrowhead.com, on my YouTube channel, Theresa Grant Realtor, over at Instagram as Theresa Grant Realtor, and on Facebook as Lake Arrowhead's Realtor. Be sure to tell a friend about this podcast because I love talking about real estate, and the more the merrier. Thanks for listening, and I can't wait until next time. Bye for now.